Vishnupriya, student coordinator, final year biotechnology, to deliver the inaugural speech.
Good morning to you all, honorable guest lecturers, HOD, faculty members, and my dear participants. A very warm welcome to you all on our second day of virtual workshop on usage of auto docking for molecular modeling and drug designing. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is the success. Before starting the program, I would like to thank you all for the success of the yesterday's program, and I wish the same for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Vishnupriya. A small cheer and a great welcome makes a merry feast. So, to entertain us with his feast, here comes M. Muthu Vasandakumar of third year biotechnology to deliver the welcome address.
Good morning, everyone. I am truly blessed to witness you all here in this workshop. I welcome all the participants in the workshop. We are truly delighted with your presence. We all have gathered here today to attend this workshop based to enhance practical skills. We as a company aim to achieve great heights. This workshop intends to make students learn about the software used for molecular modeling and drug designing. Close the speech. I hope everyone is well aware to these themes concerning the workshop. We had a great time having you all. Looking forward to many more such workshops, energizing more peoples and on a greater level. To conclude, I wish you all great success in your pursuits. Thank you.
Thank you, Muthu Vasandakumar. To be inspired is an great, but to be an inspiration is an honor. Hence, to honor our guest, here comes M. Yogeshwari of third year biotechnology to deliver guest introduction.
Good morning and a very warm welcome to everyone. I have the honor to introduce our very prolific and generous host of honor. It's now my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Ram Godandam, our first plenary speaker for the virtual workshop. Dr. Ram graduated from the DIT at Satyamangalam with a BTech degree. He received his MTech from the KCT at Coimbatore. He received his PhD from PITS at Pilani. Dr. Ram joined as an assistant professor in Pannari Amman Institute of Technology shortly after its founding in Pilani Institute, where he worked on a research fellow in PITS Department of Biological Science. Dr. Ram founded CSIR Senior Research Fellow in PITS Pilani, serving as an assistant professor in Prithesha Engineering College. And now he is reputed assistant professor in Kumaraguru College of Technology in Department of Biotechnology. Dr. Ram published his famous journal 14 peer-reviewed. After all, he is a living inspiration of young ones. He conducted the four international conferences and 8 national conferences. Dr. Ram has received 6 awards for his contribution. In 2019, he was awarded the Best Paper of Bharatiyar University. In 2017, Dr. Ram was awarded Best Paper IEEE International Conference, and also he awarded Best Poster BioFest 2014 at Hyderabad. And he also awarded CSIR Senior Research Fellowship and PITS Pilani Institute of Fellowship. It's with a deep pride and humility that I introduce our speaker for this workshop. Now, Dr. Ram will enrich us sequence homology application in structural protection. I am honored to present you our beloved guest of honor today, Dr. Ram Godandam.
Okay.
Thank you, Yogeshwari.
Okay.
Every thought.
Shall I start? Gyanapreet, you want to speak anything?
Start, sir.
Sir,
Okay.
start.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the warm welcome, Yogeshwari, and the team of students here who started approaching me for this workshop and everything. I also like to thank Dr. Subramaniam, your HOD, Venkateshwaran, for giving me this opportunity. Okay. I'm sure that my slide is visible right now. So we'll start with a small thing here. So today I'm going to discuss a small topic on sequence homology application in structure prediction. Okay. So to start with, what I'm going to cover today would be, first thing would be, I'll be covering a small introduction on sequence homology, which will cover ortholog, paralog, and homolog. And then we'll go into hands-on training on homology modeling. I'll be using a tool called Modeler here, and it involves 5 modules in this, followed by a Q&A session, the last. Okay. So what this session is about. So to start with, everyone who has a question, what is the sequence homology, what is it about, and why it is being used in bioinformatics and everything. Okay, so the thing is, we are going to understand what sequence homology is about, and what is its application in structure prediction. And that is what we are going to see today. So at the end of this session, every student and faculty members will be able to understand the basics of sequence homology, its application in structure prediction. This is not the only application of sequence homology. This is one of the application of sequence homology. The second part is, as we are gathered here to learn about structure prediction using modeler. So the time taken as per my plan would be the basics of sequence homology will be for 10 minutes, and the demo will run for 45 minutes. And you can have a Q&A session in the last buffer 5 minutes. Okay. To start with, we'll have an interactive session. I would like to know how do we extract a protein from a cell? Anyone can answer it actually. How do you extract a protein from a cell? Anyone can answer. It's better to be interactive because it's monologue or பேசிட்டு இருக்கிறது. I don't prefer it. So better thing is you can answer. Even if it is wrong, I can correct you up. How do we extract a protein?
Through central dogma gene expression.
No. I can't get you. Maybe a little louder.
Through central dogma of gene expression.
I'm asking about how do you extract a particular protein. I'm not going to tell about how it has been expressed. I'm asking how do you extract. You are given a microbe or something like that. Your professor has asked to extract a protein out of it. Okay, how do you extract it? In a lab.
SDS page,
Before that?
Western blotting.
Still more? Still more clear?
Homogenization.
Okay. First thing is you have to break your cell. Okay. Without breaking your cell, you won't be able to make anything out of it. Let's consider. Can you see the screen right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is your cell, and you have your nucleus up here. So whatever the protein will be inside your cell. Okay. There are some proteins which are expressed outside, and there are proteins which are expressed inside also, intracellular and extracellular protein. Consider that I'm asking you to extract this particular protein alone. So what you have to do is you have to do a homogenization or any cell breaking technique, anything it may be concerned, maybe a chemical method or anything it may be. So what you will get out of it? You will get a group of protein, not a single entity of protein. You will get everything, whatever the protein you have, you will be having in that. And then you have to purify it. How do you purify a protein? How do you purify a protein?
Salting out methods.
Can't get you.
Salting out method.
Okay, ammonium sulfate precipitation. That would be a best method to do. Apart from this, this is the primary method that we usually prefer in lab initially to purify only protein and leave out all the RNA part and the DNA part out of it. So you have a group of proteins only. Okay. So what you have to do, the next thing will be you will be going for chromatography. Okay, a specific chromatography, because we are not interested with a group of protein. We are interested in a particular protein which is having a particular function and everything. Okay, so once the chromatography is done, we'll have a single protein. Okay, so how do you sequence a protein? How do you find the sequence of a protein? இதில் இந்த அமினோ ஆசிட்ஸ் தான் இருக்குது அப்படின்னு சொல்லி எப்படி கண்டுபிடிப்போம்? Any idea? How do you sequence a protein? Okay, how do you sequence a DNA?
From Sanger sequencing.
Okay, that is good one. Sanger sequencing is a good one. How do you sequence a protein then?
Microarray.
Microarray. It's not a microarray. It's called a mass spectroscopy. Okay, it's not, you don't do it in microarray here. So you do a mass spectroscopy analysis here, and you end up having a sequence of a protein. Okay, so this will just give you a sequence of the protein, but you all know that protein is a three-dimensional structure. So how do you predict the structure of the protein? So good. Okay, அப்போ எனக்கு இன்னைக்கு என்னோட வேலை கொஞ்சம் ஈஸியாக முடியும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். நேற்று ஐ திங்க் மோஸ்ட் ஆஃப் த திங்ஸ் yesterday it was covered was good. So whatever the structure that is been elucidated using X-ray crystallography and NMR is being deposited in RCSB அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு PDB டேட்டா பேங்க்ல போட்டு வச்சிருப்பாங்க. நேற்று அனிஷா மேம் கூட எப்படி எக்ஸ்ட்ராக்ட் பண்றதுன்னு சொல்லி கொடுத்துட்டு இருந்தாங்கன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். So that is where you get everything over there. Okay, so we have everything. So I don't want to talk about this one. So first thing is, what is a sequence homology அப்படின்னு பார்க்கறதுக்கு முன்னாடி, do you think that humans share a lot of common traits with several other animals? உங்களுக்கு தெரியும், நம்மளுக்கு இருக்கிற ஒவ்வொரு genetic things and everything, we share a common thing with some other animal. The best animal that we share will be chimpanzees. குரங்குல இருந்தா மனுஷன் வந்தா அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்கல்ல. So that one. Okay, so we share everything mostly. We can share everything with that of your chimpanzees and everything. Okay, so there's a lineage of everything, and we also share a certain amount of thing with that of bat. அது என்னன்னு நான் சொல்றேன், சரிங்களா? And we also share a little amount of common traits with that of a cow. சரிங்களா? இந்த மாதிரி எதுக்கு நான் வந்து இப்படி வந்து ரிலேட் பண்ணி பேசிட்டு போயிட்டு இருக்கிறேன் அப்படின்னு பார்த்தோம்னா, the first thing would be usually whenever we learn about some protein or ஒரு unknown protein பத்தி நம்ம படிக்கிறோம் அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி இருந்துச்சுன்னா, so whenever we start with an unknown protein, so we will be having so with which what reference we should be having a reference or a template protein with which we can compare its structural aspects and everything. So to which organism I can compare it with? I can't compare a human with a dinosaur or something like that, because there is no relationship between a human and a dinosaur. So we have a very close relationship between a human and a monkey family, human and a bat, and human and a cow. So the common traits will help us to identify the functional part and the structural part of the protein. That is what we have. We have a very common traits about it. So as I told, we share a very common thing with that of your chimpanzees. You know what is the story behind the monkey from human and everything. Okay, so what do we share with the bat and the other birds is our hand. நம்மளோட limb இருக்குதுல, we share the same kind of the limb system is exactly similar to that of your bat or even a bird. So we share a very common ancestral similarity with that of your bat and things. So why do we need to learn all those things அப்படின்னு சொல்லி பார்க்கறதுக்கு முன்னாடி, so we'll then see what is the definition of a sequence homology. If you think that we share something in common, இப்போ வந்து நம்மளுக்கு வந்து what is the difference? இப்போ வந்து if you see a monkey in a zoo and we are also see a people from Africa who are still like a monkey, and we see people from UK or Britain who are far more evolutionary predominant. So all these things will have a common ancestry. We all raise up from a monkey. So அந்த மாதிரி இருந்துச்சு அப்படின்னு சொல்ல வந்துச்சுன்னா, it will be called as they will have a sequence homology. They will pretend to have a sequence homology. There are certain key terms that will be going across this workshop everywhere. I will be telling percentage identity, percentage similarity, and percentage conversion. Percentage identity அப்படின்னா exactly no change, 100% identical. Twins எல்லாம் identical இருப்பாங்களா, அது சரிங்களா? அது மாதிரி. அப்புறம் the second thing will be percentage similarity. Percentage similarity is different, look alike. ஒரே மாதிரி எக்ஸாக்ட் ஐடென்டிக்கலா இருக்க மாட்டாங்க. They look alike, something like that. And conservation I will discuss when the topic comes up down here. Okay, so what do we in terms of protein அப்படின்னு பார்த்துட்டோம்னா, what do we do அப்படின்னு பார்த்தோம்னா, we will be having 3 terms up here. The 3 terms are ortholog, paralog and homolog. Okay, homolog ல இருந்து ortholog and paralog னு வரும். So what is this அப்படின்னு பார்க்கிறோம். So suppose we are predicting something of structure of a protein, we should have a common ancestry. So common ancestry, on what basis we are selecting it அப்படின்னு சொல்லி பார்க்கிறதுக்கு, the first thing is you should know whether the ancestry whichever you are considering is an ortholog or a paralog. So what is that ortholog and what is that paralog அப்படின்னு சொல்லி பார்த்துக்குவோம். The first thing is, if a protein structure வந்து ரெண்டு சிமிலரா இருக்கும், ரெண்டு ஆர்கானிசம் கம்பேர் பண்ணிக்கிறீங்க, human being and a cow, the structure of the protein resembles the same, the structure of the and the function of the protein is also same அப்படி இருந்துச்சுன்னா, but different organism அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி இருந்துச்சுன்னா, it will be called as ortholog. Structurally similar but different function in the same species. இப்போ வந்து ஹியூமன்ல வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா this is an digestion enzyme ribonucleases, and this one is an angiogenin, another blood vessel growth enzyme. These things have same structural features but have different functional aspects. Okay, இது ரெண்டு வெவ்வேறு functions இருக்கும். அது மாதிரி இருந்துச்சுன்னா paralog. So same organism, different function is paralog. Different organism, same structure is called your ortholog. இது ரொம்ப முக்கியம். இது தெரியாம நம்ம we can't be going for any structural prediction theoretically basis. Okay, so why do we go for structural prediction அப்படின்னு சொல்லி பார்த்தோம்னா, first thing is, unless we know the three-dimensional structure of the protein, we can't able to predict the functionality of the protein. ஒரு protein உங்களுக்கு கொடுத்துட்டாங்க அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி இருந்துச்சுன்னா, what is it function அப்படின்னு சொல்லி பார்க்க. Okay, there is something. Okay, so the thing is, why do we need to predict the protein structure is, you need to know the function of the protein. To know the function of the protein, there is some questions, I think so. Yeah, someone has raised the hand. What happened? Okay, we'll go with it. Okay, in order to know the functionality of the protein, we need to have a well-defined three-dimensional structure. Okay, so without knowing the three-dimensional structure, the functionality of the protein is a big question mark over here. So how do we know the three-dimensional structure of the protein? So in those cases, the first thing would be, you can suppose you are given with a protein sequence or one unknown protein sequences, and the other one, whichever you are choosing, has a well-defined structure, functionality defined, and everything is defined. If they two have a very common sequence similarity, then it is believed that they will have the same structure. Okay, so we'll, as you told, how do you do the things, prediction of the protein, structure prediction of the protein experimentally is, you can do it with X-ray crystallography, NMR, or cryo-EM. But the thing is, what is the disadvantage of these methods? Can you know? What is the disadvantage of these experimental methods? Anyone? What is the disadvantage of these methods? Anyone up? Okay, the thing is, these methods will take more than a year to do, but for a particular, okay, human error and time, that is okay, but the more of that would be, it will take more time for it, because if you want to purify a particular protein, it will take years and years to purify protein, and then finally going for a crystallography will take another 2-3 years. So obviously you will lose more amount of time. So but if you want to confirm its three-dimensional structure, you have to go with X-ray crystallography only. But for the start of stage, to suppose you are doing in your lab, in your college lab or something, and you want to know the three-dimensional structure of the protein, you can go for theoretical methods. Okay, so what are those theoretical methods? Means the theoretical methods are using homology modeling. The tool will be modeler, and the other technique will be called threading. Okay, it will be using a software called Rosetta. Okay, before going to this, I'll explain you the story why we are going for three-dimensional structural prediction and what is the background of the entire thing. Okay, so suppose you are doing an experiment with an amyloidic enzyme. Okay, you are doing an experiment with an amyloidic enzyme, say it is from a baseless X organism or something, which has been extracted from your local area and everything. Okay, the thing is, you are measuring the specificity of that particular enzyme. Let's say it is having some X fold of specific activity over it. Okay, and your friend, okay, your friend has gone to somewhere in the North India, and he has found out some strain baseless Y, and he also has found out it has amyloidic activity, and he tested the specific activity of that particular enzyme. He found that the specific activity of that particular enzyme was X plus some Y fold, more than 10 folds higher than that of your enzyme, that whatever you are using. Okay, so but he doesn't know why it is, what is the reason behind it, and what the both are same amyloidic enzymes only, but how it has been giving us such a higher specific activity and everything. So in order to answer this question, the first thing is you should know, if suppose you should be knowing this particular structure, you need to know initially structural information of the protein, which is nothing but this will be called as template. Okay, this will be called as template or the reference protein or something like that. So you should be having your structural aspects and everything. You can get it from RCS PDB data bank, and you will be having. But the new protein that your friend have isolated doesn't have anything out of it. He has only a mass spec data out of it. So mass spec data will give you only the amino acid sequences only. So how do you predict the structure of the protein here? So easy thing is, if he has a purified form of the protein, he can go for X-ray, NMR, all those stuff, but he doesn't have time and patience to do it. So what can be done is he can go for homology modeling, provided this particular enzyme from BX and BY is sharing a sequence homology. Sequence homology in the sense, it's if you're comparing the sequence of the baseless X amyloidic enzyme and the baseless Y amyloidic enzyme, you're comparing the sequence similarity. If it is greater than 50% only, you can go for homology modeling. If it's less than 50%, how do you know the function of the protein? I'll come to, I'll answer it, Venkatesh, I'll answer it in the last stage. I'll just tell you the things, how do we start with, and then we'll answer. So the thing is, so you can go only when two proteins which are being compared is having a sequence homology, sequence percentage identity more than 50%, then you can go for homology modeling. If the sequence homology is less than 50%, then you have to go for a technique called threading, which is also a very time consuming process, but it will give you the structure of everything. Okay, so as per your thing, we are not going to we are not going to do threading process and all, because it will take more than a week to understand how the threading process actually goes, and the software that is being used is a paid software. We are not going to touch with it. We are going to use a homology modeling, considering the fact the template and the unknown protein, whichever we have the sequence, is sharing a homology of more than 50%. And the tool that we are going to use is called modeler. Okay, so we'll go with the direct demo now. So these are the things that you require for your modeler. Okay, so the modeler works both in Windows and Linux machines. You should be having Python installed, at least greater than 3.10. Python has versions from 2 also, but you should be having a Python greater than 3. And you can download the modeler file from this link here, and the license is given here. You just have to click on that and you can download it. 64-bit you can download 64-bit modeler, and you can type this license, and it can be used for academic purpose only. This license is okay. Just I'll share you the slide, so no problem with it. And you should also have a notepad to edit the codes. We are going to do everything with the codes only, Python codes only we are going to do. So we should be having either one of the notepads, either Notepad++, Jenny, or Sublime. These all things are notepads only. Okay. And the last thing that we require would be should be having a molecular visualization tool, either a PyMol or a UCSF Chimera. Do you have any doubts at this point? Do you have any doubts at this point? Shall we proceed with the techniques right now? Anyone?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, we are doing the homology modeling with Swiss homology model as well, like Swiss model.
Okay.
So, is there any comparison, like
Yeah, sure.
both are similar, or
No. Totally. They say it's about how well we are getting the structural aspects. Okay. Swiss model is just an web server. In terms of percentage, let's we consider in terms of percentage of output that we are getting. Suppose Swiss model will give the quality of the protein that we are producing. Everything is measured in terms of quality here. Okay, the quality of the predicted protein will be around 70 to 80 in Swiss model. Okay, and it's very easy. You can't, but the thing is, you'll be just giving the protein sequence over here, and you'll be just mentioning the template over there. Other than that, you won't be getting any control over there. No parameter analysis or parameter differing or anything like that. So it will do its own parameter analysis and give you. So the quality of the protein that it has been giving is 70% to 80%. But here, modeler, we can achieve more than 95% of the quality of the protein. Am I clear, Jay Kishan?
And sir, other thing, here we need a template protein, or we can go from scratch.
I didn't get your question. Come again.
Here also we need a template protein for modeling, or we can from
No.
scratch.
For homology modeling, we need a template. But here there are options for using multiple template or even single template over here. The only advantage of using modeler is you will have n number of parameters to work on with. Swiss model, you don't have an idea what kind of modeling parameters are being used over there. So the thing is, you will be giving a template over there. To answer, yes, come again.
Yes, I got it.
Okay, thank you. The thing is, in case we don't have knowledge on Python, we can do it. You don't need to have a knowledge on Python and all here. If you know how to edit a Word document, you can do it. I think Gupta's answer is question has been answered. So let's come into a question of Venkatesh. How do we know the function of an unknown protein? Okay, so there's a fact over there. Okay, before going to this, there is a fact over there. Just a question. This is the fact. Okay, if two sequences share a sequence similarity, then they will have same functionalities also. This is just a fact. Okay, this is you will be coming to a thing saying that because I have already shown same structural features but different functionalities. So functionalities in terms you have to go with lab only, and predictions can be done to a certain extent, but it is not recommended actually. Okay. These Vishnu Priya, will these give results similar to experimental? See, this will give a very good result similar to experimental methods. We can't compare experimental methods with this particular thing, but the thing would be, it will lay as a foundation. Even any crystallographer, even I worked in a crystallography lab only, so any crystallographer who starts a crystal will do a modeling with homology modeling, because you'll be blindfolded how the particular structure will come out of a particular protein. So unless you have a reference points like this, like using a homology modeling, you will be having a good, it will be having almost that. See, I told the quality of the theoretical methods that we get is 95%, whereas experimental method is 100%. So 5% error is only there. Okay, there is not much amount of error over there. Is the answer sufficient, Vishnu Priya? Okay, good. So
Sir,
now,
I have a question, sir.
yes,
Sir,
ma'am.
can you use Biovier or Drug Discovery Studio for visualization? Means you said Pymol and Pymol?
See, it's a visualization software, sir, n number of things. Okay, I use Pymol and this one. Even you can use Discovery Studio also.
Okay, thank you.
It's just a visualization only. Okay, I think, but okay. So I'll show you from where do you download all those things. Just a minute. So go to Google and just type, sorry, modeler. It will open up a website like this, Sally Lab. Just go to modeler there and go to download and installation. And this is where you want to download. I'll just put up this screenshot in your chat so that you may use up in the later stage. Okay, just a minute, I'll screenshot it. So this is the website. So download Windows 64 if you are using a Windows machine. I use a Linux machine, so I prefer doing it with the Ubuntu. So I'm marking those things also. So I'm just putting the screenshot in here. I'll send you a screenshot over. Oh, I can't add anything, I think so. I'll send you the screenshot to your coordinator last. Okay. All the screenshots I'll send you in the last minute. I'll just save it for you. Okay. Okay, just click on here. It's a very simple straightforward installation. Download. It will ask for a key, what you say, license key over here. Just type this license key in capital letter and you can use it. So this particular software won't give you a GUI or something. It won't have a graphical user interface or anything like that. It is, everything is run under command prompt. Okay, so what you won't be, so after installing Modeler, I can't see Modeler, don't ask me questions like that. The thing is, it's a command oriented thing. It won't be having any GUI, graphical user interface, like any other tool or Discovery Studio. It won't be having anything. It will be just having a it will be installed. You can access it with a command prompt. Okay, so that's it with it. So starting with it, we'll be having 5 major steps in this particular thing. The first step would be, the first question is, suppose we are given with a sequence, a FASTA sequence is what will be given usually. So the first thing is we have to search for related homologous structure. So we'll be doing that in the first step, and then the second step would be we'll be selecting a template out of it. Okay, and the third thing is we'll be aligning the template, and the fourth is your model building, and the fifth one is model evaluation. Okay, so this is what the 5 steps that we are going to do. So we'll go hands-on with the things. So I'll show you one by one.
Aligning meaning, sir. Align. What is the meaning of aligning?
I'll tell you what is the aligning part and everything. Don't worry about anything. Okay, I'll tell you everything. So okay, so once you have downloaded thing for learning purpose of Modeler, go and download another thing called tutorial. Okay, there will be a file called basic modeling over here. Just click on this and download this zip format for Windows. Usually for me it will be I'm using a Linux machine, so we'll put it. It's in the folder. Okay. Yes, sir. Okay, good. Okay, we have downloaded the example. This is where all the codes will be given. You don't need to type any codes. Someone asked about Python or something. Every code has been given. You have to know how to edit the codes alone. I will teach you how to edit the codes. So first unzip your files. So you'll be having n number of files like this. Okay, this is a worked out example. So you'll have a n number of files. So we'll go step by step. We have 5 steps over here. The first step would be we have to search for a homologous structure. There are 2 methods by which you can search a homologous structure. The first method would be you can directly search in a BLAST. I think you know how to do a BLAST and everything. So BLAST you can directly do, and you can find the homologous structure. You should be using BLAST P for this, protein BLAST for using that. Else there is an inbuilt BLAST also within this particular Modeler. You can do that. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll put as step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Okay, so it's better to have like separate folders for everything. So what we'll do is, for the first step, what should be having, we should be having wait a minute. Okay. Okay, we need 2 things. First thing, okay, there are codes for doing that. The first code that we need would be we should be having, where is that code? Build profile.py. This is what you can note it down in your book or something like that. What are the codes that you require for step 1? So you require build profile.py. Okay, the second thing you require would be pdb 95.pir. This is a supporting file that you require. That's it. Okay. So where do you usually, whenever you start a particular thing, you should be having a, wait a minute, I'll show you. Okay, faster sequence. Okay. So this is what you will be given with. Okay, you will be usually when you do a mass spectroscopy or something like that, you will be given with a okay. What is confusing? Gupta, Lovely Gupta, you are telling me. What is the problem with the things? I'll come again once again. You should be downloading that basic examples because it contains all the codes whatever you require for this. So what should be done once you download that, extract it. Okay, you extract it and then make 5 folders like this: step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and step 5. Okay, what is our first step? Our first step is searching for homologous structures. Okay, so what we are going to do is, for step 1, we need a code called buildprofile.py. Okay, this code is available in your basic example itself. It's available over here. Okay, just copy and paste it in your buildprofile.py. Like that, you need another file called pdb95.pir. Okay, that is a supporting file for this particular code, and you need an input for which you are going to find this 3-dimensional structure of the protein. Okay, so that is here I am going to it's a trichoderma sequence, lactose dehydrogenase. I'm going to find the structure of lactose dehydrogenase from a trichoderma species. Okay, so TB, LDH is lactose dehydrogenase. So you will be getting a FASTA sequence only from as an input from a mass spectroscopy. If you are going to do a mass spectroscopy and isolate a thing, so you'll be having mass spectroscopy with the sequence alone. Till this it's clear. Shall I proceed further? It's clear?
Sir, what is mass spectroscopy?
Okay, mass spectroscopy is, so if suppose you are going to, as I told here, just a minute. See, you are going to isolate a protein from a cell. Okay, so that protein should be purified. First, you have to purify the protein, a single entity of the protein. A cell may contain n number of proteins. Okay, so you will be purifying the protein using a chromatographic technique. So chromatography will help us to separate the single entity of a protein. Suppose you have n number of proteins over in a particular cell, you have n number of proteins, but you are interested only in a protein called N1 alone. Okay, so you have purified it with using a chromatography, and you have to pass it on through the mass spectroscopy in order to identify what kind of amino acid it contains. Okay, what kind of amino acid it contains. So without knowing this, we can't proceed with the thing. So mass spectroscopy will give you spectras. Okay, it will give a spectra like this. Some spectras like this will be there. It is a mass per charge ratios. Okay, you just Google it and see. It's a technique by which you can find the sequence of a protein. So without which we can't go for theoretical prediction or even experimental prediction of a protein, structure of a protein. So from this, you'll be getting FASTA sequences. Am I clear till now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Kalpita, this is how we'll get a thing. So in this particular example, I am going to find the 3-dimensional structure of a trichoderma species of lactose dehydrogenase. This is the protein that I'm interested to find the 3-dimensional structure today. So from mass spectroscopy data, I will get the things. So this particular protein doesn't have 3-dimensional structure, solid 3-dimensional structure. Means it is not been crystallized.
Sir,
Yes.
Mass spectrometer or mass spectroscopy, they are both
same. All same.
Okay.
Okay. The thing is, this particular protein doesn't have a X-ray crystallography solved thing. They may find this in the later years or something like that, considering this particular protein doesn't. So we are going to predict the 3-dimensional structure. Am I clear, Kalpita?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I'll proceed. The thing is, you have a input file like this. I have an input file like this one. I will mark this. Why I can't send a message to you? Okay. Okay, I'll send you the screenshots later, so don't worry about it. I'll send you a wide protocol also. So you will have 3 inputs for step 1. The first thing is the code, first Python code, build profile.py. The second is a subordinate file, which the code requires. It's nothing but pdb95.pir. And the third thing is the input, what we are going for, which we are going to find the 3-dimensional structure. It's a FASTA file, okay. So before going, so in bioinformatics, there are n number of formats for each and everything. Okay, each machine will give a different kind of outputs, and it has to be brought to a single format for which we can do analysis and everything. So what is this FASTA format? Okay, the FASTA format starts with a greater than symbol followed by a protein numbers like this, the naming convention and everything. And this is what the exact sequence is. Okay, this is what the exact sequence is. But this particular FASTA file is no use for us. Okay, so what has to be done is we have to convert this particular FASTA file into a readable form for modeler. This the modeler, we have to convert it into a file format called PIR, protein information resource format. It's in the format, it has an extension of .ali. Okay, I'll tell you how to convert that particular file. So just a minute. Okay, here's the already converted file. I'll show you the difference. You have to just copy and paste the things only. Okay, we can go here. Okay, I'll keep side by side both the files and I'll tell you the difference. Oh, okay, this is our FASTA file in the left hand panel. It starts with a greater than symbol and everything. That ALI file format, which I have converted and kept for this particular purpose, is also starting with greater than symbol only. To mention this as a protein, okay, this is a protein sequence, so I'm just mentioning this has to be done. So you have to mention it as P1. Puneet Kumar, what you are coming to tell? Puneet Kumar, what's your doubt actually?
Sir, there is any ionization method in proteomics?
Yeah. See, the thing is, mass spectroscopy can be run in different formats. Okay, it depends on the type of protein we are going to isolate and everything.
LDH and
yeah. It is a separate ocean part. Okay, proteomics with experimental is a separate ocean. So if you want to discuss about that, that will take another time. There are several. It's a separate subject itself. Okay, so don't worry about what is the ionization procedure, what they are used to. You are just important. What is the sequence that they are given? FASTA file format is what we require. So we are not considering about any ionization methods over there. Okay. Okay, so this is what. So you will be given with the sequence like this, a FASTA file format. You have to convert into a file format of .ali into a file format like this. So what is the difference of doing Padma? So you just the first important thing, you have to start copying your sequence, amino acid sequence, and paste it over after this second line. After this second line, you just paste it over here. I have pasted already. So that you can see there is a star symbol over here. This star symbol indicates end of file. Okay, end of file means that's it. There is no other sequence after that. Okay, so nothing, just in the basic example itself, this kind of format is being given. So suppose you are given with some other FASTA files also, just make sure that it is mentioned as P1 and the file name and of the particular thing. TVLDH is same as that of your naming conventions over here. And then just copy this amino acid sequences and paste it over here. Put a star symbol over here. That's it. With this is the file format that we require for starting our initial run. Okay, so I have prepared my file format, and this is what the codes looks like. Okay, I'll just open up the codes and I'll tell you where you have to change the things. Okay. Okay. So this is the build profile.py code. Okay. So where you need to change your things, there are only one place that you have to change the things. The first place is line number 23. Just note it down. I'll also take a screenshot also. Okay. Just see here. Line number 23. This is the place that you have to change your input file name. So my file name is tvldh.ali. This is the only change that you have to go. How to download FASTA file from? I'll tell you, Gupta, I'll answer your question the last, how to download a FASTA file. The thing is, so you have to change your input file name in line number 23 alone. No other changes over here. So I have already changed and kept over here. So tvldh, this is what the input file that I'm giving. All other things are intact. You don't need to worry about anything. So all other things are intact. So this is the only place, line number 23 is the only place that you have to change your input file name. If suppose you have another file name called psr.ali, means you just name it, change the name as psr.ali and save this particular thing. And then if you are using Windows machine, whenever you double click on this build profile.py, it will open up the file and you will have an option to run also. Okay, I don't have this option here. So what happens here is you will have an option to run this particular code directly. So here in Linux machine, it's little different. So what I have to do is I have to, else you can do this one also. Build profile.py. Okay, press enter. Kalpita, why line number 23 means? Line number 23 is where you are telling this is what the input I am going to give it inside. Okay, are you clear? Puneet Kumar, you don't need to worry about this programming language and all, man. It's very easy. Just change the places alone. Every bioinformatician doesn't need to know the entire programming and all here. Just know where to change the codes and you can run it. Okay. So what happens here is whenever in Windows, you have to just double click it and there will be an option called to run, or there will be an option in the top to run. Just change the code and start running. You will be able to build up a file like this. Okay, you will have two outputs very mainly. The first output will be build profile.ali. The second output will be build profile.log. This is nothing but I'm searching a template for my particular input sequence. Okay, so what I will see what is in with the log. With the log only you can come to an answer here. So this log will do a blast search only, inbuilt blast. As I told, this is an inbuilt blast only. So it will give you a blast result. Have you done blast before? Have you done blast before? Kalpita, everyone. Have you done blast before?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then the same result only, because this is a programming language output. This is what is okay. So what this particular output has given is build profile.log. Whenever you run a programming or something, right, it will give you a log file, which is an answer file for your programming language. Okay, so it will give you this. Okay, so what it has given, can you see this particular thing? Wait a minute, I will show you this one. Okay, can you see this particular output? It has shown that it has very sequence homology with 1A5Z, okay, which is an 4-letter code where you can use it for, this 4-letter code can be easily downloaded from RCSB. Yesterday, Isham showed you how to do things like that, RCSB. Just a minute. This is what RCSB looks like. So 1A5Z. This is the structure which is homologous with that of my protein sequence and unknown protein. Say lactodegranulase from Thermoptaga maritima. Okay, so this is one of a best homologous structure. Here it has given n number of structures over here. So can you explain how do you choose homologous from BLAST result? On what basis? How do you interpret from a BLAST? What is the parameter that you consider there?
Identities percentage.
Identity or some other parameter is there? There's a percentage, there's a different term over there.
Percentage identity.
See,
Less E value.
E-value, sir.
It's called the E value. Okay, it's called the E value. Okay, you should be having a E value closer to 0 to tell that that's the closest homolog. Homolog na ore mari irukra, exact identical. Okay, so here you can see this 1A5 is almost equal to 0. The other things 1B, this one also is closer. 1B 8P is also 0 here. See, almost 0, these two things. So meaning that query coverage, see, the best thing with the BLAST is don't go with the query coverage part and all. Those are secondary parameters that you look for. The first parameter that you have to look for is E value. Okay, E value is the expected value by which you can come to a conclusion which is the closest homolog. Okay, so here the particular thing is I'm getting a closest homolog with one BDMA. The second thing is I'm getting with this one. So I have got n number of results, 0 which so what can be done? So which one is the most prominent homolog out of it? That is what the next step I'm going to do. So in step number 2, I'm going to check with which is the most prominent homolog. So before that, what I have to do is I have to mark these codes, all this, so all the 0 codes. No, I have to go with RCSB. Suppose 1B. What are the codes I have here? 1B8P, 1BDM, 1CIV, and then I can also have 5MDH, 7MDH. All those A after the 4-letter code indicates the chain number. Okay, so I have to download all the closest homolog first. Okay, so what I will do, from where do I download? I download it from a RCSB server itself. So 1A5Z I downloaded. After that, I will be downloading 1B89P. This is also on myeloid dehydrogenase. After that, 1BDM I will be downloading. So you can download easily here. Just go to download and click on PDB format over there. So you will download a PDB file format over there. So with that, you can proceed with your next step. So second step. For the second step, first step is clear. So first step will give you the closest homolog full list which will give, but with the only 0 match, those whichever is matching zeros alone, I'm downloading it from the RCSB and keeping it ready for the second step. Okay, is it clear right now? Shall I proceed to the step number 2? Any doubts at this point? Anyone?
No, sir.
No doubt. Okay, I can proceed with the second step. Okay, for the second step, I have found out 5 structures which are very closely related, but I'm not going to use all 5 structures. The thing is, you can use either, this is a single template model, so I can use any one of the model only, very closely related only I can use. So I will have to rank them. Okay, so first thing is to rank them. What I will do is, I will do, just a minute. To rank them, I have downloaded all the PDB files here. From RCSB, I have downloaded already all the PDB. So I'll just copy those and put it in the step number 2. Step number 2. Okay, so from where did this PDB came from? The PDB came from the log file. All the codes that I have got, these are homologous sequences which homologous structures with E value closer to 0. Okay, so I have to download it. You can download n numbers, whatever numbers you wish, but more than 5. Okay, more than 5 you can download it and keep it in the step number 2. For step number 2, you have to compare it. Okay, I'm going to compare all these things. So I'm finding out which one is going to be the best one out of it, best homolog out of it. For this, I need a code called compare.py. Okay, compare.py. Okay, I'll open up this code and it tell you where you need to change all your things. Okay, so in line number 5 and 6 only, you are going to give, I'm going to compare these structures. Okay, the structures are given here: 1B8P of chain A, 1BDM, 1CIV, 5MDH A. You have to just type in the 4-letter code alone over here, this place. Okay, exactly. If you have still more, just add up a comma and put up a number of structures, how much ever. So it's usually recommended to go with more than 5. Okay, so this is the, so that line number that you're going to change in this particular point would be it's 5 and 6. Just make a note of it. We don't need any other things. So line number, this is where you have to go into change. Okay, you are going to change in this particular line number only. So I'm just marking it as 1. I'll give you this image in the last. Okay, so I changed everything. Don't need to change any other things here. Now run this code. Okay, I'm running this code. We'll run this code mod 10 compare.py. Okay, now I'm opening up the compare.log and checking which one is going to be the best one out of it. Okay, this is what the final output. You just drag it to the last part. This is where it will give a distance matrix out of it. Here we have to come to a conclusion. Okay, which one we are going to take it. Okay, so wait a minute, we'll snap it up. So here you can see. So here you can see this particular each one. You are came across. If you are coming across RCSB, you should have come across a term called resolution. What is a resolution? What is a resolution and how it is useful for resolution of a protein? Yesterday, ma'am was telling, what is a resolution? What is the resolution of a protein? RCSB.
To distinguish between 2 points.
Yeah, it's the ability to distinguish 2 points. It will also tell you. So if a protein, so suppose consider you have a protein with a resolution of 2.3. Protein A has a resolution of 2.3 and a protein B has a resolution of 1.6. Which one is the best resolved structure?
A, protein A, sir. 2.3.
How come? No. No. See, resolution means it's the ability to distinguish 2 structures. In those cases, so let me have this one much clearer. Without knowing this, we can't proceed further. Protein A with 2.6 and protein B with 1.3. Okay, so I'm asking which one is highly resolved. Okay, I'm telling this one is the highly resolved. How? So consider in a protein structure 2 amino acids are there, A1 and A2 and A3 are there. Okay, if you're using a resolution of 2.6, consider this as the distance between 1 2, so it can resolve a point, 2 distinction point only with the distance between the points can be 2.6. Okay, but this one can resolve this one, so I can resolve more number of amino acid atoms in there. So which one is highly resolved there? In this I'm missing up in first one with 2.6, I'm missing up the A2 part itself. Whereas in 1.3 resolution, I'm able to distinguish clearly 3 points over there. So which one is highly resolved? More number of information. Resolution don't consider. Yeah, it will be protein B, because I can understand, I can clearly get more number of information out of with a smaller resolution, the amount. Okay, so protein B would be the answer. So with those conditions, select which one is highly resolved here.
Sir, could you repeat it again?
Venkatesh, yeah, I'll tell you. The thing is, you have protein A with 2.6 resolution being resolved, and protein B with 1.3. Okay, and you are using this resolution. Action resolution is what we set up in the X-ray crystallography machine with the 2.6 or 1.3. Okay, so you are using 2.6 to resolve a protein scale. It's a scale. Okay, and you are keeping a scale to distinguish. You can only resolve an atom from with a difference of 2.6 over here, and with the 2.6 you will be able to miss out the in between atom A2 itself, whereas with 1.3 you can able to resolve even the smallest atom A2 here. So 1.3 will be giving us more number of information. Are you clear right now?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so 1.3 will give you, so whenever the resolution goes, you can't go resolution beyond 1.0 and all, because it's technically not possible. So maximum number of if a protein saying 1.0, then that's a highly resolved protein. Okay, so you will get n number of, just consider this as atoms. Okay, so this is how your X-ray crystallography diffraction looks up. This is how if you diffract a particular protein, protein is there, you send an X-ray over here. So what happens with the atoms present in the protein, all the things will be having, it will be having all the refractions over the X-ray sheet over here. So if you are looking into, it's like looking into 100, you can't be considering with that of your microscopy values and all here. It's a different scale over there. So okay, so if I am looking up for 2.6 with, so suppose this is you have found out first initially a reference atom, and you're looking for 2.6. So all 2.6 only you will be looking up. You will be submerging within this 2.6. You won't be resolved anything. Suppose you have an scale of 1.3 over here, sorry, 1.3, you will be able to resolve even the smallest particle whichever is nearby. So it's an X-ray diffraction. If you're having a very large scale, only the neighboring atoms will be, very long neighbors only will be having. Short range contacts won't be even shown up over there. So 1.3 is the highly resolved. So which one is the highly resolved here? It's 1.8. Yes. So 1.8. This said, there is another thing also here. There is a score over here. What is the score? What is the score? I'll tell you, the score is a distance matrix score. Okay, so you should be, it should not be higher also. If you're telling two homologous protein is too, this and the distance matrix is too higher, the value of the distance matrix is too higher, then it will be too largely differentiated. Okay, too largely differentiated. So what happens here is, so you should be having a optimal number of scores. See here, you can also see over here, this particular thing is also very close. When compared, there are two parameters over here. One parameter is this resolution part. The second parameter is the distance matrix part. So suppose I'm just considering the distance matrix point alone, means I will have my closest homologous 1 CIV only. But here the point is it is having 2.8 as resolution, meaning it is not highly resolved. I should have a template which should be highly resolved for my things to copy all the things, all the structural information. Without having highly resolved structure, I'll be in greater trouble because there will be missing atoms in the final thing. So I can't be, even though this distance matrix value is lower, I can't consider this, saying that this resolution is obviously very low. So I'll be considering my closest homolog as 1BDMA. Okay, I will be just considering this as my closest homolog. I'll type it also here.
Sir?
Yes, madam.
So what does this distance metric value indicate?
Distance, say, it's a difference between two structures, okay? If you
Okay.
compare, it's usually a three-dimensional structure will have XYZ coordinates, okay? XYZ coordinates, what is the difference in the atom, number of atoms in the structures and everything? So distance matrix will, what is the difference between these two and how it is been? If the distance is too low, they are very closely related. If the distance is very high, they are divergent, okay? Even though the distance for the one CIVA is 13, I can't take it as the closest homolog. With saying considering the parameter, the resolution is very low there, 2.8. So I'll go with by just compensating the distance parameters, I'll go with 1.8 and 50.5 for BDMA. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good.
Sir, for example, then we are considering two parameters here. One is resolution, another one is distance matrix.
Yes.
So by comparing these two things, we'll take the closest homology.
Yeah, my thing would be usually whenever I do these kind of thing, I'll blindly go with resolution itself. I don't mind about distance part and all, but as per theory, I'm just telling, okay, you have to consider all those things, compensating both the values. Yeah, so that is why I'm telling. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. You can go blindly with the resolution itself. 1.8 is the best one. So 1 BDMA is the best resolved structure. So the step 3, we are ready for step number 3. Till that you are clear. How do we select the homolog, and best homolog also we selected. So 2 steps are over. Any doubt at this point? We'll go to the next step.
Sir,
Yes, Saran.
so since modular is an offline tool, how can able to compare database in online?
See, you have a database over here. This pdb95.bap or whatever the file that we had in the first step 1, no, it's nothing but a database only, a local database.
Sir, will it contain all updated protein structures?
Yes, it won't contain. The thing is, it won't contain, till date, it won't contain. You can download it, even PDB 2021 is also there. But the size of the local structure will be more than 18 GB or 19 GB. So the best option would be, what I will do is, I will go with the faster sequence to this one. I'll show you this one. Wait, we'll get the same result in the BLAST also. I'll show you that also. But actually, this is a good question. BLAST. So go to BLAST. You might have used BLAST before. So just I'm pasting the sequence over there, and then I'm just going for mask and BLAST. We'll get the same result as that whatever we got in PDB95 only, because almost that data, that local database is updated on only. If you want the latest one of PDB bin, you can download it from the modular database, modular website. It will be around 18 GB or 19 GB.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let this result come. I'll show you in the last. It will take some time. So we'll go to the step number 3. Okay, for step number 3. Okay, now I have chosen my best homolog 1BDMA. Okay, are you clear at this point? Our best homolog for the FASTA sequence, whatever we have, is 1BDMA. So for this, we need for step number 3, we need a code called, where is the code? We need a code called align2D. Okay, this is what the code we want. And we need the structure of 1BDM, PDB over here. What are the things we need? And also we need the input file tvldh.ali. These are the 3 things we need. So the 3 inputs, the code, first code is align2d.py. The second is the homologous structure that we got it from the previous step, 1BDM PDB. And tvldh is what the first is. Initially, the input for modular is tvldh.ali. Okay. So what are the changes that we are going to do in align2d.py is, you have to change in several parts. Okay. I'll show you what are the things you need to do. Okay, you have to change in several parts. The first part is you have to mention line number 5. You have to mention which is the homolog that you have chosen, 1BDM. Okay, and you have to mention, see, usually proteins won't be in a single chain or something like that. It will be of multi-chain, chain A, B, C. Here it has found out it is the chain A is most closely related. So just mention this is chain number. Okay, chain A. The second change that you have to make is this one. This point 1BDMA you have to give, and this line number 6 you have to change, and you have to tell what is your input over here. TVLDH is my input. This is what it is. And the last one is this is what most important thing is. Whenever you are giving an output file, you have to mention 2 important things. First thing is what is my query protein. The FASTA sequence is TVLDH, to which I am aligning it with. I am aligning it with 1BDMA. Okay, so this particular align2d.py will create 2 outputs. The first output is it is aligning. Aligning is nothing but this is what it is going to align. I'll tell you this one. So this is what your FASTA sequence. Your FASTA sequence contains your just consider this is your FASTA sequence, and 1BDM will be your sequence. 1BDM is the closest format. So what align2d will do is it will align these 2 sequences. I have told in theory part, if my protein shares sequence homology with the other thing, then they will have similar structural features. Okay, so for that it should align and give us, it has to align both the sequences. So 1BDM will align. You might have done pairwise sequence alignment. Panirkringla, have you done pairwise sequence alignment in bioinformatics?
Yes, sir.
On the same thing. Okay.
Yes, sir.
The same concept only here. It will do a pairwise sequence alignment with the FASTA sequence. FASTA sequence is TVLDH, what you have, and BDMA, it will align. And so this particular code will give you alignments over here. So we'll run this. This is what the changes that you have to make here. So what happens here would be, we'll run this code. Wait. It will run very fast. Okay, here we are not going to see any outputs in that because we have decided this is what my closest homolog, and the next thing is this is what the output file we have everything is. So output file, 2 output files have been generated. Okay, so that's it. No analysis of results over here. So we'll go to the step number 4. Step number 4 should contain the first thing. What is the code is model single.py. This is what the code that I want in thing. Okay, model single.py, and I need an input called tvldh.ali. Okay, done. And I need 2 outputs which has been generated from the previous step. So that also is done. And I also need 1BDMA structure. So I need a Python code called model single.py. I need 2 inputs, which is nothing but my tvldh.ali and 1BDMA, which is the closest homolog. And the output from step number 3 is nothing but tvldh.ali and PAP. Okay, these 2 files I need. So what is the changes that I have to make in the code? I have to make easy things. Here it is more important to say. So I need to change in line number 6. Line number, okay, line number 6, I'll have to mention this is what the alignment file is, and I have to give 2 inputs. This one known as my 1BDMA, and the sequence that I have to change is tvldh, this one. So this is the, see, whenever we build a model or something like that, it has to be evaluated with a scoring function. So there are 3 types of scoring function in modeler. The first scoring function is called dope, the second is SOAP, and the third one is access. Okay, These all things are based on force fields. Okay, don't worry about this. I'll tell you what is a dope and everything. Here we are not going with the SOAP parameters here. So the scores are not being used right now. So we'll be going with dope scores and the access scores. Okay. And the more important thing would be we are going to build 5 different models. We are not going to build a single model until, because it's a prediction. Prediction, it can carry out mistakes. So we are trying to give the system an option, build 5 models and show me how it comes up. Okay, so we have to change these are the changes that you have to make in the final code, model single.py. Any doubts at this point? Any doubts? If no doubts, shall we proceed? This is the final step of running the code. Any doubts? Okay, we'll proceed. So I'm just running this model single.py. So it will take at least 5 minutes to run. Meanwhile, we'll see Charan's answer for the question. Still, it's been running. Okay, the same thing has been come up. Okay, Charan, this is your answer for your question. The same thing would have come up. The thing is, it would also represent, see, TVLDH is normally common, lactodehydrogenase is common enzyme. Okay, so you can find out n number of homologs. This is a very updated one. See, Mallet, you can just click on it and you can download the PDB structure for this particular thing. You just put out this RCSP. So like this, you have to search things. You can search each and every one. Based on this result, you can go with this. Okay. Charan, are you clear with this?
Yes, sir.
You can do like this also, but this will be a very time consuming. See, if you're doing bioinformatics per se or for n number of years, it's better to download and keep the 18 GB file. That will be very easy because it's in a local system and it will be very fast to do it. This BLAST results can carry redundancy and everything, so best to download and keep. So our model is getting ready. 5 models will build up. So we'll see how it is building up. So it has built up 4 models right now. I think 2, 3, 4. Let's build up for 2. Okay.
Sir, modeler can build up protein structures up to the level of what we are doing in analytical techniques like X-ray crystallography?
I'll tell 5% error will be there, not more than that. No, less than 5 only actually. Even in X-ray crystallography also, there are chances that you miss up missing atoms and all those, because human error will be there. So this is what it is. So what is even? So are you clear with this? 5% error will be there, not more than that. So E-value is a definition. Okay, E-value is nothing but the expected number of outputs that you can get out in a BLAST, doing a BLAST search. Whenever you do a BLAST search, the parameters will come in 2 sections. Okay, the first parameter, what is the main parameter is E-value. It's nothing but the expected number of outcomes that I can expect from a BLAST. So E-value closer to 0 means it's highly homologous. If it is closer to 1, it's a very divergent sequence. So in our sequence, we have taken only E-value. 1 BDMA has a E-value of 0, meaning that it is closer to 0. Venkatesh, you are clear with it?
Yes, sir.
Closer to 0 எடுத்துட்டீங்கன்னா அது வந்துரும், அவ்வளவுதான் homolog. Our last model has been built. Wait a minute. Yeah, done. So we have built up our model. This is what our model names are. 5 models has been built. Let's take up, we'll see what is the output that we have obtained. So I told you, you will be receiving dope scores out of it. Okay, so you have to go and see what is the output of your dope scores. Okay, this is what the final output. This is what you need finally. I'll tell you how to choose the best model out of it. You have got 5 model in the last. So which one is the best one? You have to choose it. Okay. So you have to go with the lowest mole. See, we have inbuilt itself. There will be a score called mole PDF scores. That just take that as reference and do it. Okay. So the thing is, we will have mole PDF score lesser for this 2 only, not more than that. Yeah, 1859. So this is the best model. Lower the mole PDF score, better the homologous model that is being built. So this is what our final answer. This is what my model is about. So I'll open and see whether my model is being built correctly or not. How do I check it? I'll check it easily. I'll tell you. Open up your thing using Chimera. So from just the FASTA sequence, you have got a 3-dimensional structure. Okay. So what is the template that we used? We used a template called 1BDMA. Okay. So just load the template. We'll compare whether these two have correctly built up or not and what kind of error it has given and everything. So that is what we are going to do. 1BDMA. Okay. This blue color is your 1BDM. Some other things are. Okay. So blue color is your reference template, and your brown color is your model which you have built up. Okay. So in order to know whether I'm going to select only chain A, because 1BDMA chain A only I need. Okay. So we'll see whether what kind of mistakes it has made. To do so, go to Tools, Structure Comparison, Match Maker. So you will open up a window like this in Chimera. Just click your reference structure is 1BDMA. The structure to match is your modeled structure, which is nothing but TVLDH2. Okay. Just give OK. Okay. See, there will be only one error in this particular thing. There won't be two errors actually. Can you see there is a loop structure which is coming, protruding out? This one, this area. Can you see there is a change over here? Where am I pointing? Is it clear?
Yes,
okay, this is, see, whenever we are doing a template versus a homology modeling, the alpha sheet and the beta sheets will be easily modeled correctly. The only problem with this, can't be doing correct modeling with that of your things. The modeling will have an error in the loop region alone. So region number 1 is this one. There will be another region also which will have error over here. This is where the region is. You see here. Can you see this region? There is an extra loop over here, but our template didn't. Our template has an extra loop over here, but this model didn't have anything like that. So there are 2 errors over there. This is visually seen error, okay, but we can't, if you're writing a paper or something like that, you can't pinpoint like this and say, because loops are highly variable region, so you can't come with a conclusion like this. So this is an output, just a visualized output to explain for you. So there are errors with the modeled structure. So we'll take a snapshot of this and also keep. Okay. Good. So we have done model building right now. So how do we evaluate our model? That is what the next thing we are going to see. How do we evaluate my model? So for every step, whatever I have told today, I have written what is the input that you have to give, say query, alignment, protein, what is the code, what is the database you have to use, what is the thing you have to use. So everything is been given here. I have also marked where you have to change everything. I'll share the slides with you. And what is the output inference that you have to make. Second step, selecting of template, what is the code that you have to take here. Everything is been marked here. So this will help us to do everything. So model evaluation. So whenever you're doing a homology modeling, you have to evaluate the model. By default, modeler also has some kind of codes to evaluate the model. This you don't need to do. There is an online server to do this, so don't worry about this. So, but we have seen some errors in the loop region. See, this red color is the model that we have built up, and the green color is the template. Can you see the difference? There are some amount of spikes here and there. Where and all you can see spikes over here. You can see spikes over there, all and there. Can you name some of those? Where and all you have seen error? Just guess it. You can see this is your model and this is your template. Okay, you can see that the model has different kind of spiking over there than that of your template, saying that this consider this region alignment position number 200 to 250. You can clearly see there is a difference in structure. So these kind of differences would be coming. So this is what I meant in the structural elucidation using visualization also. So there are other tools that you can do. So whenever you're doing a homology modeling, you have to do these results and confirm it. You can't, any paper publication won't accept anything without these things. The first thing is your Ramachandran plot. You know what is the Ramachandran plot is? You must have read, no? What is the Ramachandran plot? What's the Ramachandran plot is?
Sir, it is a plot between two rotation angles, phi and psi.
Good. So what it will tell you?
Sir, actually, I don't know much about it. I had just read the definition.
It predicts secondary structures.
So see each, this is your Ramachandran plot. Okay, you might have seen this in your biochemistry book or anything. Or say. So so what are these points means? In a protein is a three-dimensional thing. So what kind of coordinates it will have? X, Y, Z coordinates will be having. So here they won't be considering the Z coordinates and all. It will be considering X, Y alone, and they will plotting up every coordinate. So each quadrant has a different place for everything. So this one is for beta sheets. This is for alpha helix. This is for left-handed alpha helix. Like that, there is some definitions over there. I'll show you that one also. Only if your plot falls into that, it will be considered as a correct one. Else it won't be considered as a correct one. See here, if it is a left-handed helix, your plot has to come. See, that coordinate has to be plotted within here. If it is a beta sheet, it will be plotted here. If it is a right-handed alpha helix, it will be plotted here. So in our result, mostly we have seen most of our results are coming with the exact wherever it is there only. But there are certain points which are outside also. So these points are nothing but due to loop region, this variable loop region that we have got here. This is what we have got here. So if you are if you are using this homologous structure for some other purpose, you have to go for refining. Refining is another technique by which you can go for iterative method. It's a continuous iterative method. You have to do one by one amino acid substitution you have to make, and then come again and you have to do all the steps again and then confirm with the Ramachandran plot. So what this Ramachandran plot will give us means it will give you allowed region, disallowed region, completely generally allowed region and disallowed region. Okay, if your homologous model, suppose the model whatever we are building is having less than 5% only, means it is accepted. If it is having error more than 5%, means it is totally waste. So how do you rectify those errors? The first method that you can use is you can go for loop refinement. Okay, if there is an error in the loop, you can go for loop refinement. The second method that can be used is you can go for multiple template. Here we have used only one template over here, one BDM. Okay, so if we are going, we can go for multiple template models also. There is a process for that separately. The second thing is whenever we are going for a homologous model, it's better, it's highly resolved structure. Even extracrystalline structure, there will be error. Yesterday Anusha ma'am told there will be entries for from the same group itself. Okay, from the same group itself we will have n number of entries. So those kind of entries has to be correctly validated and obtained here. And last method, it's the method that we usually do. It's a iterative method. It's time consuming, but we will get a correct output out of it. Okay, so these are the methods by which you can do it. So how did I obtain this Ramachandran plot? Is there is a server called Saves, SAVS. Just click on this, it will go here and choose your protein up here. Where is your TVLH? This one. Run this program. So it will ask for 6 programs are there. You can check it with anything. Ramachandran plot means it's called ProCheck. Okay, stereochemical property check. Just click on start here. Okay, we have obtained the results as such, same thing of that. It will give you a result like this. Click on this Ramachandran plot. Yeah, this is your result. So Save server will have 6 different tools. We can usually whenever we write a paper or something like that, it's recommended to show at least 2 through 3 conforming results. Okay. They won't be accepting simply with a one Ramachandran plot alone. But Ramachandran plot is the basic. First thing you have to give Ramachandran plot. Second thing is you have to give Z values using this prove and verify 3D, anything of your choice. You have to able to write an inference saying that, convincing a reviewer only. Okay, this is what the kind of correct thing we have done and everything. So that's it with the entire thing. If you have any doubts, you can ask me right now. And thank you for the opportunity. This is my number, and I'll share you the slides. It has complete from A to Z whatever I have done today. It has everything. You can mail me if you want. If you have any doubts or something like that, I'll ready to mail you back. Mostly I'll mail in within a hour or something like that. So any doubts, you can ask me right now.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Yes.
Sir, thank you for the wonderful presentation, sir. I have one doubt. Suppose we have to model a variant which has few mutations, say some 3 or 4 mutations, and it has no experimental data like mass or crystal structure. How to do modeling, sir?
See, in those cases, see, usually whenever these kind of things, it's not recommended. We'll be using multiple template model. Okay, so what this multiple template model, it happens now and then. It happens. This question comes up now and then, and it's a little tricky process. So consider this as your protein, okay, and it doesn't have any mass. Best thing is it should have a sequence at least, mass spectroscopy sequence at least it should have. We can before proceeding with the thing, you should have at least a mass spectroscopy. Without that, it's a very difficult thing. So mass spectroscopy can be easily done. We extract a protein, do an ammonis precipitate solution, go to a LCMS. You do, and you will obtain a mass spectroscopy. And if it doesn't have any experimentally proven homologous structures, then means you have to go for multiple template model. This multiple template model can be like this, from this much, can be A, B, C, D. Let's say these are all 3 are showing only 50% homologous with that of your sequence, whatever it is. You can use this multiple template model and do a prediction. It is a very, very tricky process only, but it can be done. It will take a little more time, more than a week or something like that. We can do it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. How do we proceed with FASTA sequence from NCBI? Yeah, you can proceed. Yeah, usually you can download a FASTA sequence from NCBI very easily. Where is that? This one. If you You should be checking whether it has a structural when we use find active site for docking. That is very easy. I think go for this site. Lovely Gupta, this is your answer for your active site prediction. Go for your site called CastP. Go and upload your PDB there. It will show you active site and you can go for docking. Okay.
Sir, I have also one question, sir. This
Yes,
is
madam.
Kalpita, sir. Sir, for docking purpose, it is good for high resolution or sir low resolution? For docking
See,
purpose,
whenever docking, why we are going for docking? Docking is finally to find some drug candidates against something. Okay, so the next step of docking is proving them in the lab. So best to go with high resolution things. Don't go with low resolution points anyway.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Charan, how system neglects the first line in fast and takes. Yeah, that's a code actually. Whenever you type in a code or something like that, that is why they are starting with a greater than symbol. Okay, where is that code? It's a it's how programming language assumes saying that this is what the first line is. So whenever this you might have done it in C program or something like that. If you use a hash symbol or a percentage symbol, it will be considered as a comments. Correct, Sharon?
Yes,
Sharon,
sir.
are you there? The same concept only.
Yes,
percentage symbol or a hash symbol, the same concept. Greater than symbol will be considered as a first line for naming convention. After that, it will be your sequences only. Any other things to ask? I'll show you a case study where yes, go ahead. Anything you can ask me. I'll show you a case study where we did this particular work and published also. This homology thing is a basic thing only. So, okay. Can you see the screen? Okay, it's clear. This is a paper where we did curcumin. You know curcumin. You know what is a curcumin is? So we have done curcumin targeting a enzyme, particular enzyme sortase A. This one doesn't have structure at all. Okay. So what it's from Enterococcus faecalis. So what we did was we did homology modeling for this. We did homology modeling for this. And we proved that this structure is very valid, and we went for docking this particular thing, and we also done molecular dynamics for this. This is another step for this. So what is can we do blind docking in homology design? Yeah, commonly you can go. But don't go for blind docking. See, what is an active site region is? Active site region is where in terms of energy, it is a very optimized area wherein a ligand can come and bind easily. So go with a reference ligand kind of thing of docking. Don't go with blind docking, because blind docking will give you, if you repeat the blind docking n number of times, n number of different results will come in Autodock. It won't give you the same results. So it will be a problem. So go with a reference-based docking. Anything else? Anything else you can ask me? Okay, thank you, Madam Mageshwari. Venkatesan, sir.
Thank you for your interactive session, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Lunch hour is the best hour of the day. Let's split up and reassemble at 1:30 p.m. The feedback link will be posted. The feedback link will be must be filled within 15 minutes.
Okay, I'll send you all the links for this particular thing, Shanto. I'll send to Santosh who contacted me. I'll send the presentation and then also the slide, the presentation carries everything. If you have any doubts, you can write to me. You just click on here, it will go to the mail. So you can write to me. I'll send you whatever the required things you are. Okay. Thank you.
Sir, sir, 1 second, sir. Sorry for interruption, sir.
Yes, Prem.
As I asked, suppose we have to model a variant, it has no crystal structure, something like that. But if we know the amino acid substitution, where exactly the change has happened, using PyMol in the mutagenesis wizard, can we change only that particular amino acid, for example, alanine to phenylalanine? Similarly, the 3 other changes, can we do manually in PyMol mutagenesis? And can we use that for docking and further simulation? Like
You can do it. When you're doing mutagenesis, it's best to go for homology modeling only. Okay. So the first step is whenever you do a mutagenesis, you start with either a PAM. Your substitution matrix should be behind that. You can't be simply changing a phenylalanine with alanine or something like that. You'll be going with a record of PAM matrix or a BAM matrix. So what happens here would be, once you do that, you will be don't go with using a PyMol. It will be a 3-dimensional structure only. You can also go for energy minimization techniques directly, but there will be error in the last stage whenever we come for docking. So the thing is, what I would suggest is go for FASTA sequence, do a manual editing there. Let's say position number 10 or 11, you're going to mutagenity, something like that. You use a template, use your original without mutagenesis protein as a template and homology model this particular one. That will give you a best result out of it. Don't go for PyMol direct mutagenesis wizard. It will go till docking, but whenever you go for validation using molecular dynamics or something like that, it shows much number of error.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Ram,
thank
sir.
you. Yes,
Ram,
sir.
Nice presentation, sir. Nice
Thank you,
presentation,
sir.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Shall I leave?
Yes, sir. Students, if you have any doubt, so ask, chat your in the chat, post your chat parts. Okay. So in after lunch, so the next session will be started at 1:30. 1:30. Okay.
Thank you,
Sir,
sir.
I have to put your time start.
The next
1.
session will be started at 1:30 p.m. 1:30 afternoon.
Okay.